One of the great rivalries in the NFL, the New York Giants 0-1 taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who also have an 0-1 record in Arlington, Texas. Now, this game has a whole bunch of narratives. We're not going to talk a lot about narratives. We're going to talk about football and the play of these guys in week one and what we expect, what we think is going to happen in week two. To start it off, let's talk about Russell Wilson because his quarterback play and the way that he performed in week one was nowhere near good enough. When we talk about the way he performed in Pittsburgh or Denver, he was able to put up numbers. They were able to move the field consistently. It's just that they didn't score a lot of points. What was very concerning about his performance against Washington in week one is that he didn't move the ball down the field all that well, was not accurate as a passer, didn't turn the ball over throwing it, but just the yards per attempt, he was not effective. A 60 rating and a QBR of 25.6, which is by all means horrible. And then, of course, the run game was bad. In Denver, at least he would throw some touchdowns and to picks to go with it, and Denver could score and put up some points. But 6 points in the home opener in a game that you've got 5 months to prepare for, that was a pitiful performance. Now, on the other side of things, it's a little bit of a different story for Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys because Dak played very well. He was aggressive. When have we seen Dak Prescott that mobile, navigating around the pocket, looking that confident on the sidelines, very full of himself that they were going to win that game, even with the delay, came out slinging it, but in the fourth quarter, only had 3 possessions to go down there and take a lead when they were down 24-20. We're not able to score in this second half after putting up 20 points in the first half, not getting stopped. He had 188 yards on the game, but he did look very good throwing the football, and he had a ton of drops. The key highlight that I'm not forgetting about the drops from his elite wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, who people forget had 110 yards in that game. Now, the story was they held A.J. Brown to 8 yards. A.J. Brown only had 1 target for those 8 yards. So how will Dallas go prepare for Malik Nabers and the New York Giants offense? Because it is obvious when you watch New York, or if at least you watch that week one tape, that they're going to try and force the football to Malik Nabers. Malik Nabers is the best player maybe on that football team. It already looks like Brian Birds is playing at a high level. Abdul Carter at some point. But Nabers got 12 targets, only brought down 5 of them for 71 yards, but he sure flashed in that week one game, didn't he, against Washington? Couple of nice plays. A Trey Amos, a really good cover corner from the Southeast Conference at Ole Miss, trailing him. We saw that Ole Miss LSU. We got to see a little bit of that battle. That was a whole bunch of fun for you college football fans out here. We make a whole bunch of college content, so it's a lot of fun to see the intersection once these guys get into the National Football League and how they go head-to-head and take those college ties into it and some of the rivalries and big matchups with them. Obviously, New York wants to get the ball to Nabers, and the Cowboys know that. They thought that A.J. Brown was going to get a lot more targets, so if I were Dallas, I would not be overly confident that you can stop Malik Nabers. He's not only going to get 1 target. I would be so aggressive to say that I would be surprised if he gets less than 9 targets in this game, if he does not get double-digit targets in any game this season. Now, Russell Wilson has to throw the ball accurately to him. When he gives him a 50-50 opportunity, the ball needs to be high because Malik Nabers has a ridiculous ability, even though he's not 6'4", or 6'5", he's just not able to have that size, but it's like he is with his vertical, how he's able to catch and attack the ball at the highest point. Very impressive physical hands at the catch point for a young football player. That's why everybody loved him coming out of LSU. As far as the run game goes, because this is an under-talked about part of this matchup, we've had the good quarterbacks, obviously. Tony Romo and Eli Manning. I grew up around that rivalry and those guys going after each other. Obviously, Eli Manning overall was able to get the best of it most of the time and had the more success, right? Winning 2 Super Bowls, and Tony Romo did not have a lot of success or getting into the playoffs all that often. No shots at Tony Romo. Not that Giants fans will be upset, and I don't know if that many Cowboy fans will be upset about that one. But the run game, Dallas had 119 yards. They ran the football pretty decently. I mean, Javonte Williams looked great. If you had him on your fantasy team, you were very happy. Close to, you had what, 20 points, fantasy points for you, 2 touchdowns, 50 yards on the ground, over 5 yards a carry for Dallas. I would love to see them try and establish the run, because the last thing that you want to see is Dak Prescott dropping back, and there's Carter over here on the left side, and then you've got Thibodeau, you got Burns on the other side, and then you got Dexter Lawrence. You have those 4 guys, and maybe even a couple other players in the middle of the defense coming after Dak Prescott. Good luck to the Dallas Cowboys defending that pass rush and doing straight drop backs. Now, Prescott threw the ball 34 times. I think that would be too many against New York. I want to see them flip these numbers. 22 carries, 34 attempts. I want to see 34 rush attempts to 22 pass attempts against the Giants. Really go after that passing defense and attacking it, because it seems like New York is able to pin their ears back. We saw 2 sacks from Brian Burns. Abdul Carter and Thibodeau were able to share another sack in that game. We're able to stay in it for a while, really, against Washington. They were giving them all they could handle. It's just they could not get anything going on offense to give you confidence or to give Giants fans something to really cheer about. It was just a frustrating game for me to watch, even as someone that's not a fan of either team. But obviously, I'm a fan, and I have always been a fan of watching good football. And that's just not what you saw from New York. 6 penalties. It was only for 35 yards. But the automatic first downs, the calls that set you back on first down, you just can't have that in a game against a team like Dallas. Now, both of these teams, I said I wouldn't talk a lot about narratives. This is pretty brief here, but both of them are 0-1. And Dallas and that loss to the Eagles, 0-1 in the division. New York, 0-1 in the division with a loss to the Commanders. With them playing each other, the loser of this game, you're basically done. I mean, you're 0-2 with 2 divisional losses, so there's like no path for you going through that division. Like, the best you could be is 4-2 in the division, and really, either of you, you're going to be like the Giants are going to be. You just don't see it. You cannot lose this game for either team. So that's why we're fired up and so excited for this matchup, because you're going to see a mad Giants team. You're going to see a Cowboys team that is physical, that really goes out there and plays well. That's why I think this is going to be a great game. And that 3.5-point spread, 44.5 points, is right in line with what I am thinking. I believe that there will be 45 points scored in this game. I'll tell you that right now. So just over the total, but I'm not going to tell you just yet who I think wins. Probably a little bit of the analysis right now will give you a tell of why. Crazy stat in week 1. Okereke had 16 tackles. Now, that is a great job, but when you have to make 16 tackles, typically that is not a great indicator of your offense being out there enough, sustaining drives. And so that wears on you. And Dallas and their scheme and them coming out very fast against Philadelphia, I would assume that they do that a lot often. Now, I'm fine if they do that early, but you cannot forget about the run if you're Schottenheimer. I mean, this is something that your dad, right, he knew very well how important the run game is. And every old-time or traditional coach that has had success in the NFC East, we don't have to look, I don't want to talk about the Eagles all too much. Both of you guys, the fans of that team, hate them just enough. But of course, you have to respect that offensive line and the run game and how it just complements the passing attack so well, and obviously hopes with the mobile quarterback. So I do give, of course, the edge to New York in the sense that they've got a bit more mobile of a quarterback. Now, did Dak Prescott look like he lost 8 or 10, 11 pounds in the offseason? It looks a lot more lean and looks a bit more mobile and faster? Absolutely. I mean, that jumped off the screen watching that game as the season kicked off on Thursday night. Dak Prescott looked really good, kind of moving around back there. I even was like, can we pull this thing and try and get him a little bit more involved in the run game? Just maybe see it. I know that the past injuries, that's not a great idea, but I would like to see him maybe just take your chance. 3rd and 6, and you see a lane go after it, Dak. I think that he's able to pick that up. There's a lot of great athletes for New York, but on the side of the Giants and Russell Wilson, I believe keeping him on the ground, that's again one of his strengths. He's always been able to have a knack to fall forward, not breaking a ton of tackles, but being shifty enough to have the guy grab onto like his side and he falls forward for the first down and can pick it up, or just crosses the first down line and slides right before he takes a big hit. 44 rushing yards on 8 carries. He was efficient running the football, was able to gash the Commanders a couple of times, being able to pick up good yardage. Washington, though, that is a massive concern for New York going against Dallas. And what I think their game plan is going to come out and be running the football over 30 times, 32 attempts, 220 for Washington. Daniels goes for 70. 7 yards a carry for the Commanders. That's why it's obvious if you're looking at Dallas and what they're going to do. It's definitely taking their chance to take it right to that New York front. Sometimes the best thing you could do to a great pair of pass rushers in Brian Burns and Abdul Carter is running the football right at them. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but really that is your best chance to stay out of what they want to be in, which is obvious pass situations. Well, they know they don't have to respect the run, and they can full force 100% run into the backfield, or they don't have to worry about stopping the run and overcommitting a little bit too much. So that's what really jumps out as obvious to me. Dallas having to defend Malik Nabers, I'd assume doubling him. Just make them go somewhere else with the football, right? If that's Russ and he needs to run the ball 14 times in this game, so be it. If you have to dump the ball off to Tracy or get the ball to Robinson, who had 55 yards, find someone else if New York. And then if you're Dallas, obviously running the ball, and CeeDee Lamb has to catch the ball. Now, Dallas, I do believe, has a little bit more talent on offense. I love the kid Booker at guard. CeeDee Lamb, great player, and the weapons that the Cowboys do have with Williams now, with Pickens, those two wide receivers is a bit more than what New York has to be able to match up with that, which is why I'm leaning towards the Cowboys winning this game in a very tight fashion, 24-21, pulling out the win at home, saving Jerry Jones a little bit of some ulcers going into next week. No Micah Parsons to worry about for New York, which is a big deal. But I have Dallas winning this game. So please let me know down below in the comments. Am I crazy? Is New York going to find a way to get after Dak Prescott and they'll stop the run? They're going to find a way to cover CeeDee Lamb and Pickens with a lot more efficiency and do well stopping. Let me know if you're a Cowboys fan and what you think this will be, or if you're a Giants fan. Please subscribe for more content in the future. We're so fired up that football is back. You can see college NFL content coming out, Blitz with Blender daily. We are so excited to continue to preview and break down games as the season goes along and these matchups continue to sizzle and get bigger and bigger. There's not a lot bigger this week than this 0-1 couple of teams divisional rivalry games. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Thank you.